Hey everyone, it's Mike. I review nootropics and I talk personal development, and during this video today we're going to talk about ashwagandha. This is one of the most popular nootropics out there. It's the king of herbs. We're going to talk about the benefits of ashwagandha. We're going to go over what ashwagandha is. We're going to touch on the appropriate dosages for whatever you're looking to achieve through ashwagandha. We're going to go over the side effects, and then stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to talk about some nootropics that can really go well with ashwagandha to make a nice overall stack. Firstly, what is ashwagandha? This is a herb. It's naturally occurring. It's not man-made, and that's what makes it special. It's a herb grown in India. It's grown in the Middle East and some places in Africa, and how it's most commonly used as a nootropic is specifically to fight stress. You kind of feel more present, you'll enjoy your work more. As we browse through examine.com, we can see here there's results with ashwagandha with respect to decreasing anxiety, improving your levels of testosterone, decreasing cortisol levels, improving your power output, and its very significant effects with respect to reducing levels of stress. It's really neat in that it's like a overall well-rounded nootropic, you can say. Whether you're somebody that's studying, whether you're somebody that's looking to make more money, maybe you're somebody looking just to improve your physique, you're trying to build more muscle, lose more fat, ashwagandha is a good nootropic that can pretty much fit any stack. If you're somewhat familiar with nootropics, then you probably understand that there's different classes of nootropics. There's nootropics that can aid you with focus, and there's adaptogens. So ashwagandha, it's going to fit that category of adaptogens, meaning it's going to essentially help you to decrease levels of stress. And thus, when you're calmer, when you're less in your head, and when you're less kind of worried about bad consequences, you're able to be more effective. You can connect with people on a much greater scale. So there's a number of studies that suggest it has anti-anxiety effects, and it also seems to reduce cortisol levels. And that's what makes it unique. Cortisol, for those of you who don't know, is like a stress hormone. You never want to have too much cortisol because it's going to make it such that you're just unproductive, you're going to have a bad memory, you're going to have low energy levels, pretty much all the things you wouldn't want to have. And there's only two supplements which significantly can decrease cortisol levels, in my opinion. Those would be ashwagandha and phosphatidylserine. So there's a number of studies that show that more research needs to be done on ashwagandha's effects long term, because with this nootropic, it's subtle, it's not that strong, but because it's subtle, a lot of people are using it on a daily basis, just like myself. What ashwagandha is responsible for is like making you calmer, making you more relaxed, similar to like L-theanine or Bacopa. But the drawback is if you're somebody that is already considerably lazy, or you consider yourself to be somebody with a poor work ethic, I wouldn't really recommend ashwagandha unless you're taking other nootropics to make you more motivated, because with nootropics, the majority of nootropics are often looked at for increasing your productivity, like being more focused, being more motivated, having higher energy levels. And to be completely clear, ashwagandha, it doesn't really do that. More so, it just helps you to manage levels of stress. Take the ashwagandha KSM 66 in 300 milligrams in the early afternoon and 300 milligrams in the late afternoon. It's not really something that I like too much first thing in the morning, pre-workout, because it's somewhat relaxing, somewhat calming. So I would avoid it with respect to working out and around my workouts. More so just during the workday when I want to be calmer, be more productive, and really achieve like a good resourceful state to be in flow. That's when I like it, and that's why I would typically take it. Usually it's something like 2 o'clock and then again at 6 o'clock p.m. How about the side effects? Now, I read almost every single comment on my YouTube page, and I don't see that ashwagandha is one of those problem nootropics with respect to side effects, but there are some things you should know about. For one, there is a chance that it may increase your thyroid function. I'm somebody that's experienced hypothyroidism, so because of that, I'm taking a bit of Cytomel every day just to bump my thyroid levels up. Okay, but here's the real problem when it comes to ashwagandha, because this is why I stopped taking ashwagandha for a bit. This is probably why a lot of you are going to stop taking ashwagandha for a bit. It's specifically because it can have the side effect of making you somewhat demotivated. At the end of the day, this is a nootropic that's somewhat relaxing. It's going to calm you down, and if you don't have accountability in place for you to work a lot of hours in the first place, you're very likely going to be like susceptible to distractions. You're going to be interested in things maybe that are somewhat outside of your most effective and efficient work routines. And that's why I would recommend that if you do take ashwagandha, you're a little bit conscious of that, but fortunately you can aid that and you can fix that with some nice nootropic stack tweaks by adding something which is going to be able to improve your focus, your motivation, while at the same time having a good level of calmness and peace of mind. When it comes to nootropics like modafinil, like phenylparacetam, even caffeine, generally what goes up must come down. But ashwagandha, more so what you're going to notice, if anything, is like an improved baseline mood. So for that very reason, if you were to ask what nootropics can go really well with ashwagandha, I would say the first one which comes to mind is Noopept. Noopept is a nootropic that people generally take for productivity. It helps more so with respect to like focus, concentration, general motivation, and energy levels. But it does it in a very different way than caffeine. Caffeine does all that, but caffeine seems to give you like that physical energy, like you'll get that crash afterwards. The Noopept, more so just a subtle effect. It'll work for maybe 2 to 3 hours at most. So for that reason, if you do try taking Noopept, I would recommend you try it several times a day, and don't expect a miracle, but this stuff, given that you know how to like do objective measures of yourself and your performance, whether you're an entrepreneur making money or you're a student looking to achieve their grades, believe me, after a couple months of taking Noopept, you will see significant results. The other stack which comes to mind is ashwagandha and caffeine with L-theanine. So something like a dosage of 300 milligrams of ashwagandha, 100 milligrams of caffeine, and 200 milligrams of L-theanine. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to be very productive. It's going to last for a couple of hours. You're going to get all the benefits with respect to caffeine as far as motivation, energy levels, focus, being able to defocus on things which aren't important. Yet at the same time, you have this nice anti-anxiety effect from ashwagandha, which is going to help you with like shyness. It's going to help you with that jittery feel. It's going to help you nicely mitigate that crash effect that you would typically get from caffeine. And that's why I like that stack a lot. And hey, if you were to ask me, can you combine like caffeine, L-theanine, can you combine ashwagandha, and can you combine Noopept? I typically do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend that you talk to your GP before you introduce any nootropic to your stack. But generally speaking, when it comes to ashwagandha and combining with other nootropics, it's just such that I'd be careful when it comes to stimulants. Anything which does anything strange to your heart, like an increased heart rate, then I would just be very careful. And if you are going to use ashwagandha in that case, then obviously be responsible, assess your tolerance, and take like a very small amount to begin with. Like we're talking 100 milligrams, just to make sure that you respond well.